Hopefully by the time this update goes live, everyone managed to get Celica. Otherwise, we'll be waiting for an extremely long time for her rerun banner. So with that character leaving, the next major update is on its way. I'm really looking forward to it because of Virelia. She's this OP AoE attacker with crazy damage and range. She's a magic attacker that's part of the Glory Princess Elis faction who can only be a mage class that will need Nemia and Impressia for bonds. Her talent lets her do more damage. At the end of her turn, if she did not attack, she can perform a spell preparation that lets her add again 2 blocks and buff duration doesn't decrease, which has a cooldown. After each spell preparation, her range increases to a max of 2. One of these spells include Annihilation, that lets her do a double attack with a skill, with the second attack doing half damage. But when using a ranged skill, the range is decreased by 1. Second is Collected Energy, that increases her range by 2, but can only move in a straight line. Third lowers a skill that she used by 3 turns, but the cooldown of her spell is decreased by 1 after using it. All 3 of these stuff cannot be immune, dispelled, and is removed after using a skill to attack. And honestly, I'm really thankful for that. Otherwise, we would see another case with Isolde. The best way to go about these upgrades is to go from top to bottom, getting the best ones that has less of a consequence. Her 1C is a passive that lets her revive when killed by a physical attack, and performs a random spell that has a cooldown of 5 turns. Her 2C is a single target, for each stack of spell, it does more damage. Afterwards, the trigger cooldown is reduced by 1. The cooldown should affect like her talent and passive. Her 3C has a passive that does fixed damage. If the enemy's HP is less than 20%, it cannot be immune. It's an AoE that applies 2 debuffs. If the enemy is killed, a random spell will be performed at the end. A strong kill confirm, which makes it something that's actually reliable thanks to her double attack. And what's interesting about this 3C is that you can actually apply 2 debuffs for each hit, but everything else like the fixed damage will take effect after the second hit. So stuff like Resentio and Juggler's Healing won't proc until that second attack. She even has access to a skill that buffs her, so you can replace that with her Revive skill while being a mixed attacker. She has a really good single target and AoE, so she's going to be really viable in both content, especially when you take into account with her talent. She's going to do a lot of damage and has insane pressure with her range. Virelia is definitely worth the summon. You'll see a lot of people use her for all those good reasons, whether you're a new player or a veteran player. I will admit and say that there are some stuff, like a few of them, that I would like to say but couldn't because I couldn't get an accurate look at some of those few stuff. Our second character on the list is Seraphina. Now, I underestimated her more than I thought. Even some of you guys informed me that she was a lot better than I thought, and that is true. But my concern still hasn't changed all that much, which is something that isn't exactly all that bad. She's a physical attacker that's part of the Empire, Strategy, Meteor faction who can be infantry and assassin that needs Patricia and Andrew for her bonds. Her talent gives more attack and crit rate and doesn't have melee penalty. When moving, she ignores enemies and doesn't lose movement power when passing through them. She applies poison to passing enemies that makes their debuff last 1 turn longer. This one should be that they have a 20% increase to get critted. When this effect is obtained again, its duration is refreshed and is changed into Deadly Erosion with more effects. So if the unit has at least 4 debuffs at the end of their turn, they die immediately. In regular content, they just take a lot of fixed damage, which cannot be immune, dispelled, that lasts for 2 turns. Instant death, that's pretty funny. Do I find it dumb? Yes. Why am I not worried as much as I should be? Well, that's because her mobility is hot garbage. And once she has a passive that lets her move again after attacking, the number of blocks that she can move is based on how many that she had moved before attacking. You can select an enemy to apply poison for 2 turns, which she can add again moving 3 blocks and buffs doesn't decrease. It's something that you'll always want obviously, since mobility is something that she struggles with. Her 2C is a straight line AoE to apply poison for 2 turns, and applies a strong debuff, but if you crit, you can apply another one. You're actually killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so it's something that makes it really reliable to have her talent take an effect, since another thing that she struggles with is applying a lot of debuff. Her 3C has a passive, after attacking, deals fixed damage to other enemies within 1 block around the target. Enemies with poison and erosion cannot be immune, and the damage value can go up to 10 times. This is a single target skill. The fixed damage dealt by the passive is doubled, and soldiers can attack with. If the enemy has poison or erosion, the enemy is stunned before battle. That applies erosion afterwards. Okay guys, that fixed damage having a 10 times multiplier is true. With the 3C2, oh my god, I'm questioning. Okay, let me calm down. So all of this sounds good, right? But it's not exactly easy per se. Her biggest issue will be her mobility to actually approach them and not applying as much debuffs for her talent to work, which isn't much of an issue with the skills. And if you got equips like Breeze, Demon Slayer, and she can even use the Elf Knight as well. So if you've been playing for a very long time, and if you have the right stuff for her, you'll be able to actually use this character. But her main source of damage comes from her 3C passive. What this does is it actually turns her into an AoE attacker, and it makes me wonder if Balance Blade is compatible with it. But yeah, Seraphina was someone that I completely downplayed. She's really only deadly if you allow her to come to you. Her mobility is the only thing that's holding her back, and she can't apply enough debuffs. So that makes her manageable to deal with, unless the person using her has the proper equipment. Overall though, she can be extremely fun to use. She does require a lot of investments to really make her work, because you will need some of the rare equipment, like having Demon Slayer, having the Winged Accessory. If not for that, then you can use Breeze. Stuff like that is something that she really wants to make her really effective. Not only do you want the right equipment, but also the right teammates. But in regular content, she can be okay in some scenarios, but I wouldn't say that she's a reliable damage dealer. The only exclusive that we got is an armor for Hoffman. When the shield uses its skill, it has a command where non-flying allies pass through its range. They can mitigate 1 block of mobility, and the shield itself gains another ability to guard within 3 blocks. Yeah, I always thought it gave Hoffman the ability to guard, but it also makes me question why it does that when Hoffman needs his shield to do extra damage. So with that in mind, you gotta place that thing far away. For the casting skill, first up is Liana. Her Attigan has an extra range while also applying reinforcement and immunity for 2 turns. Second is Werner. When he crits on a counterattack in his retaliation stance, his buff duration lasts 1 turn longer, but in his attack stance, it reduces the cooldown of his skills by 1 turn. Seeing this again, man, I gotta start building this guy up. Something that I always wanted to do for a very long time. Third is for my GOAT back in the day, Michelle. When her skill hits 3 or more enemies, she applies 1 stack of Scorching Flame, and reset the remaining cooldown of her magic armor. If you're someone that truly likes to use Michelle, I would advise unlocking this one, since her magic armor is her at the again skill, but not only that, it helps to extend her range. Last is for Lance. If he has the advantage in battle, he gets a 15% increase to his stats, and when in mixed forces, he has plus to mobility and can heal based on damage dealt in battle. Probably one of the best buffs that we've seen yet, no less on the SR character too. But considering his best class is Flyer, he doesn't have any better soldiers to use, unless you have him in his cavalry class. And the only one that I saw that's usable is the Heaven Guard. The banner of interest that I saw was a raid up with Ashen and Kristan that appears on the 2nd week of the update. Ashen is a phenomenal support DPS who can act again and buff your teammates. Kristan is an amazing tank as well, who can buff up princess teams. A Destiny banner with Precia that appears on the 3rd week. She is someone that you will want for all of these new characters that are going to be released, if you're planning on getting Virelia. A wishlist banner that goes up to Isolde and Jace. I recommend taking this opportunity to get characters like Roland and Precia, Angelo and Patricia for bonds. And this banner releases at the same time as Precia's Destiny banner, even the equipment banner too, that has the latest equipment, which will appear on the 4th week of the update. As for the content that we'll be getting, a Portal Leap chapter, more Ragnarok stages, a share event, a raffle event, login event to get Captain Macro free, but only up to 4 stars, Anarchy and casting unlock, more gold, voucher daily missions, floating city output increase, extra secret realm chances, and maybe we'll even get a Gate of Fate as well. Emphasis on maybe. 2 quality of life change that I really like would 1 ask you to use Clock of Forgiveness if you missed an achievement, and Forbidden Battleground filter that can show like 2 factions at once for both of those missions, which is something that I really appreciate. The Endless Voyage. But for some strange reason, they reduced it to tier 10, and it makes me sad too. I don't understand what the reasoning behind it is. But moving past that is a new game mode called Iron Her Jar, Iron Her, whatever how you call it, Chronicles. It's located in the home menu, which takes you into the event's main menu. There'll be one section where you can see Liana and Ellen's spirit. You can unlock them by collecting sigils to use them. You'll have a training ground where you can unlock spirits and make them stronger. There'll be another section to unlock the skills, which cost a certain material to get. In gameplay wise, these spirits do cost a certain number of crystals, which do replenish every round. You will be forced to summon them if you want to progress through the stage mechanics. Each character can have their own assigned spirits on them, and you can see like which ones are deployed during the preparation phase. They do go away after a certain amount of turns, I think like maybe 2, and each one do their own unique things. Like for example, Sonya. She can do an AoE attack with one of her skills, and her talent makes her stronger for each enemy killed. And Thxs, who can increase her team's skill damage and reduce skill cooldown. It's definitely not as complicated as you would think it is. It's really simple actually. For the first 5 stages, it'll teach you everything about it, and by clearing those stages, you'll get rewards, especially upgrade materials in the training ground. This event really looks like it has potential to be really fun. Like I can't remember the last time that I was actually pretty excited for an event. Honestly can't wait to try it out. For the new skins, an Echo Light for Virelia and Seraphina. Does anyone else agree with me that they look very much like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy? Do any of you guys know what I'm talking about? We got confirmation for Z2 Summer Skin. I remember this one. They announced this one at the same time for Kaguya Summer Skin, which I'm not sure if they released it out on TN yet. I only know that they got Z2. Then a martial artist skin for Joe and Connie. Alright, so that was about everything, if not most of everything, that the global side of Langrisser will be getting. I already knew that Virelia was going to be pretty hype, but now that I know that Seraphina is actually a pretty fun character, it makes me hyped even more. And with the Endless Voyage on its way too, it's going to be a fun one. It should be released in this update. It was out in CN during this time, so if it doesn't for global for some reason, I'll be pretty disappointed. Another thing to be more hyped for is the next LLR character, which is Chris. Now I still don't know anything about her yet, but I will get a video out on my first impressions around this month, or at least around the duration of this update. But that's all I got. If you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and feel free to let me know down in the comments how you guys feel about this update. Are you excited for Virelia, Seraphina, or maybe both? Because I can't wait to get both of them. I can't wait to summon for them, I can't wait to try them out. Oh, it's gonna be fun trying them out. So yeah, thanks for watching. Your fellow Z.